Hi there, everyone. So we've just begun the sixth month of her mystery school, the month of Alchemista. And in this month, we're working with a lot of practices and art forms of creating, manifesting, if you want to call it that, basically focusing will force and bringing to life visions, shifts, changes, our full selves, and in that, identifying where what you could call self-sabotage arises, how that appears in each of us. We all choose one choice for the month that is particularly daunting, and we work through it for the entire month with the support of the school. And in so doing, one of the richest places of inquiry is not even necessarily the choice itself, not the vision itself, it's the resistance that comes up. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about self-sabotage and the way we approach self-sabotage in the school, because I think a lot of us have these intimidating choices and shifts that we want to make in our lives. We have big visions at times, we have big challenges to overcome, and when we start to make choices toward what is better for us or what we really want, then resistance arises in the form of stagnation, in the form of just not doing what you know you should do, in the form of losing interest, losing focus. And the way I was kind of taught about that and also thought about it for a long time was as if it was self-sabotage, as if there's a part of me that wants what's really best for me and another part of me that does not and gets in the way, and I need to address that part of myself. And for me, in her mystery school and in general, and an approach to healing and to life that has wholeness at the core of it, that way of looking at self-sabotage is very fracturing. It leaves this impression that I or you or we have some part inside of ourselves or parts that literally kind of has our not best interest at heart, that wants to trip us up, that has some secret agenda for sabotaging the things of beauty in our lives. I hear people talk about it a lot with relationship, that they're sabotaging intimacy, or, you know, with the next big career move that they're making, they're sabotaging themselves and the work and the focus that they know they need to do to be successful, just whatever it is. And I wanted to speak to that because there is a way to approach self-sabotage and resistance that creates wholeness and coherency rather than fracturing us and essentially further wearing away at a really necessary alliance, the alliance of coherency and solidity inside of ourselves, where we actually trust ourselves. With self-sabotage, when you view it as a part of yourself that is out to trip you on your way towards what you really want or what's really best for you, then in some ways you become untrustworthy to yourself. And in many ways, in ways that we've betrayed ourselves, in ways that we've been betrayed by life, many of us already need to restore that sense of deep trust, unyielding faith that we do have ourselves. So, self-sabotage in the way of the alchemista and the way that we work with it in the school is actually one of your richest sources for refining your choices, refining your life, and healing and knowing yourself. So what I mean by this is if you make a choice towards something that you know you want, at least you believe that you want in the moment. And by want, I mean, you want something that you want to create in your life, but also something that you know is for your highest good. This could be an impulse towards your own golden path, your own destiny, your fullest fruition, something you've always longed for. When voices of resistance or aspects of your own behavior come up that seem to be working against your movement toward that thing, it's not, consider looking at that as an ally, looking at whatever is arising as a part of yourself that is not here to trip you up, but is here to bring more of you to the table. So you make a choice. You say, I want to have greater intimacy in my relationship. I choose to have greater intimacy in my relationship. Well, and then, over the next 3 days, you find yourself becoming more irritable, engaging in more of your critical patterns, and basically pushing away that very intimacy that you just chose to have, that you decided to focus on and open up to. Well, if you come away from it for a minute and really sit with yourself and sit with what looks like self-sabotage and listen deeply, the promise that's underneath of self-sabotage is that parts of you, the wholeness of you that is necessary, the coherency of your own will force that is necessary to make a choice and actually focus and follow through, is hidden in that self-sabotage, in that resistance. So if you sat, for instance, with that part of yourself that is all of a sudden full of criticisms, full of essentially pushing away intimacy, even though you know that what you choose, what you want, is more, and you listen, what could it possibly be trying to actually bring you? And if you listen more deeply and more deeply, what you might hear from something like that is, I do choose to have more intimacy in my relationship, but I choose to feel safe in that intimacy. What your criticism, what your pushing away of intimacy may be showing you is that, yes, you do want more intimacy, but there are ways for you that will come about. And your resistance, the self-sabotage, the tripping up of yourself, or the arising of the opposite of your choice right after you make it, right after you focus your will force, that's the place to look for how you refine your choice. So when you make a choice for your life and you really put your intention behind it, it has a lot of power. It has the most power, and it will take you where you really want to go when you have full coherency behind that choice, meaning when all of you is on board. Your vulnerabilities, your power, your desires, your everything, right, is on board. Your heart, your womb is on board in full coherency behind that choice. That is what makes your choice an arrow and makes you the bow that's shooting the arrow straight and far. Sometimes it's going to have to go really far if you are making a big choice that's really going to change your life and that is really going to elicit more of you than has ever been on the table before. So when you make a choice and immediately resistance comes up, you don't immediately assume that you're either failing or that, oh, and here again are those parts of you that always make sure that you fail at your choices, or that you could never change, or that, here again are your flaws. Actually, no. Listen more deeply. Really take the time. In the example I just used, sitting with why there's criticism and a pushing away of intimacy coming up, instead of that bringing intimacy toward, which was the choice, can help you get to what is underneath of that. That what intimacy is for you isn't just being close. It's being close because the person who is with you is emotionally safe for you, because there has been an emotional safety fostered between the two of you. And all that criticism, all the things that are surfacing they're ways of, basically criticizing and holding this other person to some standard, which may be coming out sideways, in order to make sure that they are a safe person for you to be intimate with, that they are worthy, that they are strong, that they have your best interest at heart. So if you come back to your choice, your original choice was, I choose to open up to more intimacy in my relationship. Immediately following, you become a total bitch and you actually keep pushing it away and pushing it away, and you sit with that has arisen as you've activated your choice. And you recognize that actually, no, you don't just choose to have more intimacy with your partner. You choose to have intimacy with a safe partner, or in a safe way. You choose to have intimacy with someone who can really hold your emotional vulnerabilities. And what's been happening is that in your self-sabotage, that's been coming out sideways, but it is a voice that has your best interest at heart, trying to find you. So just because it's coming out sideways doesn't mean you can't sit with it and bring it down to a core, more sacred need, and therefore focus your choice. Understand yourself more deeply, understand your needs more deeply, and create from that place. Because in that choice, creating intimacy, first of all, it's not possible unless your vulnerabilities are very much on board. But creating intimacy with whoever, just because you think intimacy isn't a good idea, it just is a good idea, it just isn't even an option. That's not how intimacy works. And you don't actually want that. You know, if you're going to sit with it, you're going to realize that no, you don't just want intimacy with your partner. You want intimacy that feels safe and right with your partner. So if you then come back to your choice and you say, I choose to foster intimacy and emotional safety with my partner, what's going to happen is where you move forward from there is going to be refined. It's going to be wiser. It's going to have more power and more clear action. So you're not just going to attempt to, unconditionally love everything about your partner and snuggle more and do what they want to do and just try to be close. You're going to know that the key to that for you is emotional safety. So what might come from that? You may choose to sit and have a conversation that has long been waiting to be had between you and your partner. You may choose to ask for counseling. You may choose to just ask to go out to dinner and have time, just the two of you, to reconnect because it's been so busy with the kids and all the things. So you, in listening deeply to what comes up, when you move toward what you really want, when you start to alchemize your life toward the greater version of it, or what's really in your heart to create, and when you start to shift things in your life that need to shift, that are done, that are old, that are not serving you, that are holding you back, there is incredible power in the choice that you make. So, and we work with that in Alchemista a lot, is, okay, what choice are you making? And how can you keep refining it, keep clarifying it, and keep coming back to your choice so that you're guiding the arrow. You are keeping yourself on a golden thread. And then what comes up for you as you activate that choice, and not seeing anything that comes up as something in the way of your choice. It is actually more of you coming to the table. It is actually deeper aspects of you, other aspects of you coming around to fill out the details of your choice, to refine it, possibly to even change it completely, and let you know what it is you really want, right? So we are in, from an alchemista's point of view, walking with choice, moving with choice and creation is about just having a living relationship with your destiny. Our destinies are unfolding. We don't know them yet. So as you're making choices, intentions, movements, and focused choices towards the future, you are really engaging with a living destiny, and in a way you're unfolding a mystery. So as things come up, they might change your choice entirely, but what you're looking for is refinement and change that actually then brings you to oh wow, this choice actually feels even more real to me. So I choose to have more intimacy with my partner can shift and refine to I choose to have intimacy that feels very emotionally safe with my partner, or I choose to have intimacy through emotional safety with my partner, which can eventually become, you know, as you sit with it, and maybe as you reach out for safety with them and start to realize that in your case, it's something inside of you, that it's your own, there's a holding that you're not doing yet of some aspect of yourself, a deep safety to have with your own self. It could come all the way down to a choice of, I choose to hold myself. And what you started with as a choice for intimacy that was related to your partner, and that comes back down to a choice that's more fundamental, closer to you, more true, and then that will, in the end, open up more intimacy as well as a million other things because it's closer to you. So what you're doing when you're working with self-sabotage and resistance is you are using it to bring you closer and closer and closer to what's most pure and most refined and most powerful in you. And then you are getting all of yourself behind that. You're taking this thread of you and that part of you and that aspect of you and the lover in you and the mother in you and the vulnerable one and the shining one. You're bringing them all together bit by bit until you are a radiant wholeness behind a choice that you can stand behind completely. And that then is where you alchemize. Well, actually, in the whole process is how you're alchemizing your life. You're bringing yourself into wholeness. You're refining and purifying yourself and your life until you come to a pure element, until you come to this deeper truth that you can align around. So that's my offering with self-sabotage. You know, we're here on the east or on the west coast of America, in Oregon. We're just starting to see buds. Life is just starting to come back to its blossom again, and the energy is present for creation, for choosing, for facing and walking with things that may have been a little daunting in the past. Big relationship changes, big career changes, big health changes. And when you choose to stand up, to step into your life more fully, to alchemize, to influence, and to create inside of your own life, know then that at the same time you create, you'll be asked to heal. They come together. This is where a lot of manifesting processes can go awry. They don't necessarily include the wholeness of you, the vulnerabilities and the healing that is going to be a necessary and parallel part of creating as you expand. So you've got one hand bringing in all the parts of yourself, healing. You've got the other hand holding up the torch, getting clearer and clearer about what light is leading you forward, what is guiding you onward, what your choice is or your choice is. And then you're walking as the fullness of yourself, your power and your vulnerability. So self-sabotage is actually an ally, and you are actually at the bottom, deepest place of things. Your energy, your actions, even if they're coming out sideways, and even if it's going to take some time to understand what's underneath, there is a seed and a spark of your well-being, movement and desire towards your well-being in there. So take the time to sift down and listen for the sacred needs. Listen deeply. Trust that underneath of what emerges in you, there is a sacred need. And that sacred need is guiding you toward what is most in your well-being, what is most clearly your golden path and your most whole offering to the world, not just yourself, to everything in your realm. So I hope this has been insightful, and yeah, I hope that alchemizing your world can become more and more of a source of creativity and joy for you, rather than a source of frustration, and a place where somehow you feel fortified in thinking of yourself as flawed. My prayer for you is that you feel more and more and more fortified in understanding the deep wisdom that's in your being, and the incredible potential of what it is when you become coherent, when you welcome all of you to the table and move from there. So, happy alchemizing. Blessed be.